Good evening. The July 31st, 2018 special meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. The purpose of the meeting is to hold a public hearing on the tentative millages and budget for the 2018-2019 fiscal year. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mrs. Nancy Stacy, District 1.
Here.
Mr. Bobby James, District 3.
Here.
Ms. Angie Boynton, District 4.
Here.
Mrs. Beth McCall, District 2.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly King, District 5.
Here.
Dr. Heidi Mayer, Superintendent.
Here.
Mr. Paul Gibbs, School Board Attorney.
Here.
Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Superintendent Mayer would like to provide opening remarks regarding the 2018-19 fiscal year tentative budget received last week and on the proposed millage rates.
The tentative budget has not been amended since the board received it on July 24th, 2018. The proposed total millage rate is greater than the rolled back rate by 2.35%. The board has set work sessions to review the budget at 9 a.m. for Thursday, August 9th, which would be general fund, Wednesday, August 16th, which would include the 5-year work plan and the other funds, and then Thursday, August 23rd, if needed. The final budget hearing is scheduled for September 11th. Ms. Boston Ellis, your PowerPoint.
Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, board members, Madam Superintendent, Attorney Gibbs, and Mrs. Martinez Lopez. Good evening. If you think about flying on a plane, tonight we'll be at the 10,000 level, 10,000 miles level.
Feet.
We're going to look at the tentative budget and the millages from just a general perspective, and then we'll have all the details in the work sessions. So first, I'd just like to remind you of our 18-19 budget goals. Of course, we're going to align the budget with our strategic plan, provide adequate staffing so that we meet class size reduction, and we have met it since 2015-16. We've met those requirements with the help of the referendum dollars. We're also, part of our goals is to leverage the available resources to maximize student learning, and I would love to reiterate, we're leveraging available resources. Then also, we're going to continue to restore the programs that were adversely affected during the recession. And of course, the referendum has helped us with that endeavor, and we're looking forward to August 28th to continue that endeavor. So tonight, there are only two things that we have to do tonight, is to adopt the tentative millage. Our total millage is 7.319 mills, and then to adopt the overall tentative budget of $553.3 million. The process started back in January, but last Tuesday, the board received the tentative budget and approved it for advertising. We had 4 ads in the paper on Saturday, and they met all the requirements of trim. Tonight, we are having the special board meeting to set the millages and to adopt the tentative budget. Again, 3 work sessions, the 9th, 16th, and the 23rd, and then the board will vote on the final budget on September 11th. Again, our total budget for 18-19 is $553.3 million. That is $15.6 million more than the prior year's adopted budget and represents about a 2.9% increase. As you can see, revenues and expenditures are segregated by funds, and these are designated for specific purposes. The largest of which is general fund, which includes the adult education program as well as referendum, and that is at $400.8 million. Special revenue food service, $40.1 million. special revenue other, which are our federal grants, 41.8 million, followed by debt service, 13.9 million, capital projects, 48.4, and the internal service fund of 8.2 million. If we look at the budget summary by fund, you can see by far the general fund combined is about 72% of our entire budget, followed by the capital projects fund, which is at 9%, special revenue food service and special revenue other, as well as the debt service and then internal service fund. So the predominant fund is, of course, the general fund combined. So for the 18-19 year, there were some changes in revenue, some of which you are already aware of, but just to review, we received funds by federal, state, and local sources. We have 2.8 additional revenue in the 18-19 budget from federal sources, an increase in Title I and Title IV, as well as carryovers for the SIG grant and the UNICIG grant. So those four together total an increase of 2.8 million. For state revenue, we have new categoricals as well as increases of current categoricals. Our safe schools increase of about 1.5 million for the SROs. Mental health has an allocation of $1 million, and we have a one-time adjustment, something called a compression adjustment for Marion County, as well as 20 other school districts of 3.9 million. And basically what that is there were several school districts that they were below the state average last year in terms of funding. So these school districts were given additional money. And this is a one-time, we have been told that it may or may not be there next year. And that's 3.9 million. You're also aware of the small increase in the base student allocation of 47 cents. We also are projecting 168 additional FTE, which total about 1.5 million. So if those students don't show up, we won't receive that revenue. From the local sources, our assessed property values did increase 7.35%. That's even with lowering the required local effort. We still received 1.8 million. We received an increase in referendum dollars of 1.3 million and capital 1.9 million. So the increase from the local is about $5 million. I would indicate here that our average student funding did increase by $74.28, but that is basically due to the additional money we received for safe schools as well as the mental health and then that one-time compression. But if you look at in terms of inflation, we are still behind about $1,100 per student. So for all funds expenditures, the only thing that I would like to indicate on this slide is that functions defined the purpose of what we use the money for. So the first category is instructions. So that is where we would record teachers, teacher assistants, those that are directly in the class. And then the instructional support are our media specialists, guidance counselors. So together, 63% of the entire budget is directly related to the classroom. And to look at this in another vein, looking at it from an object perspective, salaries.
You said 63%?
Yes, 63% are instruction and instructional support. So the budget summary by object, again, salaries and benefits are about 67%. The next largest amount is purchase services, and that's where we would pay things like the SROs, contracted services for ESC. The next largest one, I believe, would be capital outlay, and that's the capital projects fund. Materials and supplies does include food, which is a part of food service. So looking at our general fund combined, which is the operating fund, adult ed, and the referendum, we know that these particular funds pay for salaries, transportation, utilities, materials and supplies, and contracted services. This is by far our largest fund. And when we look at these things individually, we'll spend more time on them. So looking at the general fund combined, 92% of that budget is the operating fund. 6% is the referendum, which is of $24.2 million, and the adult ed is about 2%, $9.1 million. And look at how we spend the money. For the general fund combined, 77% is spent on salaries and benefits. The next largest is purchase services, followed by energy, materials and supplies, capital outlay, and other expenditures. So let's just spend a little bit of time talking about the millages.
Let me ask you something. You said general fund referendum, 24.2 million.
Yes,
We're up
that
there.
includes the fund balance. 24.2 is
Fund
referendum.
balance, Okay. Includes fund balance.
Robert, can you turn the air on back there? Are we saving money or something?
You want it now? You're talking about the budget, so
As you know, TRIM dictates this whole entire process. So in order for us to receive about $169.9 million in state dollars, locally we have to levy $76.4 million. And that is given to us by our legislators. We don't have a choice with those. So we do have some discretionary operating millages, and the .748 is a discretionary millage. But if we don't levy that, we would lose that amount. And also, if we levy the full amount of 14 million, we get an additional 8.3 million. That's a compression adjustment. Of course, the next piece is the additional voted millage. That is our referendum. And right now, it's estimated to receive $18.8 million, followed by the capital outlay, which is also a discretionary millage. And I smile when I say that, it's because it really isn't. We have to levy this millage because right now, 18.4 million of that 28 million we're using to pay for debt. So it is a discretionary millage. You could say we don't want to levy it, but it would be catastrophe. So the items that have the asterisk on them, they represent 31.5% of our general fund combined revenue. So what are our challenges? We have to continue to watch our ESC funding that gets recalculated during the year based on the count. In the past, we used to receive a one-time allocation, and then it was never changed throughout the year, but that could change during the year, and that amount is 16.4 million. We do have additional extended learning programs this year. There are 11 and estimated costs of 2.5 million. We continue to look at different ways to enhance digital learning. We have technology, hardware issues, moving toward the one-to-one device ratio. Also, in the next few years, we'll be looking at computer refresh programs, and those are pretty big ticket items. Of course, we have, increases in some fixed costs, whether it's utilities or fuel. There's those kinds of costs that we really don't have any kind of control over, other than keeping the air high. We do have costs associated with aging buildings, vehicles, and buses, and you've heard this every year. We have put in $1.5 million in the capital projects to continue to purchase buses to replace the outdated fleet. We are experiencing some increase in employee benefits, health, and retirement. You may say, why is there an increase in health insurance? Because we got a no increase, but that particular no increase goes into effect in January 19. So the increase from last year, we only paid for half of the year, and now we'll pay for the whole year for the increase. And then, of course, last but not least, continued implementation of Senate Bill 7026 as it relates to SROs and hardening of our schools. And in summary, we have a balanced budget as required by law. Our budget is $553.3 million, increase of 2.9% over the prior year adopted budget. Property millage is actually 0.241 mills less than the prior year, but because of the 7.35 increase in property values, we are getting $5 million additional associated with that. We continue to have limited financial resources in capital. Robert will present a 5-year plan to you that is showing about $356 million in unfunded needs over the next 5 years. Again, we'll continue to discuss this in detail August 9th, 16th, and 23rd.
Are there any questions, Ms. Boston Ellis, at this time? Thank you.
I recommend adoption of the tentative millages and tentative budget for the 2018-19 fiscal year.
The question occurs on the superintendent's recommendation to adopt the following tentative millages. Required local effort millage of 4.063 mils. Required prior period funding adjusted millage at 0.0080 mils. Discretionary millage at 0.748 mils. Capital improvement millage at 1.500 mils. Additional voted millage at 1.000 mils, for a total of 7.319 mils. And to adopt a tentative budget in the amount of $553,302,440. May I have a motion to adopt the 2018-19 tentative millages of 7.319 as set forth in the superintendent's recommendation? Moved by Ms. King.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Boynton. I declare a public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the board concerning the proposed millages or rolled back rate? Seeing none. All those in favor of the
Come to us for, just got a question on it now.
Okay.
Ms. Ellis, what I'm hearing, what I heard rather, is that this is going to be contingent upon the strategic plan. Did I hear that?
Our budget goals are always tied into the strategic plan. Yes.
Okay, so will we have an opportunity to go with a strategic plan while we're going through this? Because I know we had talked about our strategic plan at some point.
We have a workshop scheduled for the strategic plan.
We have used the strategic plan on page 13.
On page 13?
Yes, sir. If you look behind tab 1, the publication. And this is our strategic plan until it is changed.
August 9th, after the budget workshop that afternoon, we are staying for the strategic plan. It's an all-day workshop.
Okay.
What day is that?
August 9th. We'll break for lunch, and then we'll come back and do the strategic plan.
Okay.
Does that work? Okay.
All right.
All right, is there any other discussion? So all those in favor of the motion, please vote aye, and opposed, like sign. Mr.
Aye.
Jones does not have his computer.
Aye.
Motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to adopt the 2018-19 tentative budget in the amount of $553,302,440? Moved by Ms. Boynton.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. King. I declare a public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the board concerning the tentative budget? Seeing none? You ready? All those in favor signify by voting aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0. If you will remember, Mr. Juan Lopez presented the mental health plan to us, so we need to vote on that. May I have a motion to approve the comprehensive school mental health plan in compliance with the mental health assistance allocation, Senate Bill 7026? Moved by Ms.
Second.
Boynton, seconded by Mr. James. Superintendent?
The plan is in compliance with the mental health allocation in Senate Bill 7026 and addresses the safety and emotional wellness of the students of Marion County Public Schools.
I declare a public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the board concerning the comprehensive school mental health plan? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by voting aye, and opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0. There being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by Ms. King, seconded by Ms. Boynton. All those in favor, please signify by voting aye, and opposed, like sign. Motion passed 5-0. Meeting is adjourned at 5:53 p.m.